Hey guys, this is Owen Productions, aka Nana 4673, and I am back in Hakuouki, Demon of the Fleeting Blossom, part 13. And before I do anything, I want to apologize for the sound quality because the sound quality sucks. I don't know what's wrong with it, and I don't think it's as annoying when it's recording as it is as I can hear it, but it's pretty annoying. But anyways, it's been so long. I am so freaking excited to continue. And yeah, Ogita just got shot because he protected us. Yeah, let's go. Suddenly, he was standing in front of me. Come on. Ogita! Blood was already beginning to pour from his body. You heard? His voice was weak. No, I'm fine. Not a single bullet had even touched me. He'd taken more. He'd taken more? Shit! Good. He wavered and then collapsed to the ground in a heap. Ogita! Ogita! I grabbed him desperately. So he could get horribly wounded, but as long as I wasn't hurt, it was okay? No! It's not okay! It's not okay at all! I felt my vision start to blur, and I realized suddenly that I was crying. My voice broke as I tried to speak. If you get hurt, that makes me sad too! I kept calling his name, but he didn't answer. He was still breathing, but each breath drew a pained groan from his chest. Ogita! It was only then I heard Kaoru's laughter. What an idiot! Well, he did just what I expected him to do. You! The blood drained from my face. You were trying to shoot him the whole time, weren't you? Kaoru chuckled again. Ogita got hurt pretty bad because of you, didn't he? Things don't look good, I'm afraid. How unfortunate. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but I had no blah. If I hadn't been there, then Ogita wouldn't have been hurt. He never would have been shot, and he might even be able to fight his way out of Kaoru's trap. But I had been there, and now he was dying, and it was my fault. Kaoru's smile was suddenly gone. You need to suffer more. At Kaoru's signal, the men drew back. I won't kill you, either of you, so easily. His eyes were cold slits, but his voice was gentle and calm. I'm looking forward to our next meeting, dear sister. Damn you! The words were out of my mouth before I realized I was saying them. Kaoru turned to look over his shoulder and smiled. If you could just see your face, hear your voice, the more despair and anger you feel, the more you look like me. How could there be any doubt that we are brother and sister? With one last horrible smile, Kaoru and his men disappeared into the night. After what seemed like eternity, I heard the murmur of voices. It was the Shinsengumi soldiers who had been sent out to investigate the gunshots. We carried the barely conscious Ogita back to the magistrate's office together. Ogita was shot. Yes. As I explained what had happened, Sanan's frown deepened. Even if they were using the newest revolvers, that shouldn't be enough to put down a fury. They probably had those revolvers, I realized. Each man had fired off several shots without reloading. Even if the wound's deep, it's small. As long as we removed the bullet, the wound should heal. But Ogita's wounds weren't healing. He'd fallen into unconsciousness and continued bleeding even after the bullets were removed. Eventually, even Sanan began to worry. When Ogita woke up, it was only to take sick with a fever almost certainly caused by his wounds. Heichikata decided the situation was dire enough to merit serious treatment and ordered Ogita to be sent to Osaka to be treated by Dr. Matsumoto. When I asked if I could accompany him, Heichikata was surprised, but after some discussion he gave me permission to leave. He also assigned Yamasaki as our escort. That was why, only a day after he'd been shot, Ogita and I set out for Osaka Castle. Chapter 5. March 1868. After arriving at the castle safely, Ogita immediately joined Kando under Dr. Matsumoto's care. Unfortunately, the doctor was unable to determine why his wounds refused to heal. The new year had only just begun when the news reached of the Battle of Toba Fushimi. After the bloody conflict, the Satsuma had won and forced Shinsengumi to retreat to Osaka. But he didn't come with them. He'd fought to recover the retreat and be killed by enemy gunfire. My son! God! I knew that would happen, but damn! In all of my memories of Inoue, he was always smiling. He'd been such a kind, gentle man. I couldn't bring myself to believe he was dead. Someday I'd like to think I would see him again. After some discussion, it was decided that the Shinsengumi would leave Osaka and follow Lord Yoshinobu to Edo. At last, after years away, I was back in my hometown. But it was Okita's injuries, not nostalgia, that consumed my thoughts. Dr. Matsumoto had set up a small house for Okita to stay in while he recuperated, and that became our temporary home. Okita spent most of his time in bed. His injuries still hurt him, and moving seemed to be painful. He had been shot because of me. Any mere human would have died then and there. It was nothing short of a miracle that he was still alive. But he was a fury. His wounds should have healed long ago. Okita! His sleeping face twisted in pain. Okita! If it had been a bad dream, I would have woken him up immediately, but this was no nightmare. Even in his sleep, his wounds were causing him pain. If I were to wake him up, it would only make that pain harder to take. Gently, I wiped the sweat from his forehead. It hurt to see him in so much pain, but all I could do was wait and pray. I took his shaking fingers in my hands and held them. Some time later, his eyes slowly fluttered open. Oh! He blinked sleepily and his gaze drifted over to meet mine. How are you feeling? I tried to keep my voice cheerful, or at least not terrified. Better than yesterday, I think. His voice was very weak. Are you sure you aren't just saying that? I'm fine. His mouth twitched into a shaky, wry smile. It was small, but my heart leapt at it. Is the sun down? Yes, it is. Do you want to get up? Yeah, if I just sit on my ass in bed all day, I'm never going to get all better. I helped steady him as he sat up, conscious of his wounds. He winced as one of them twinged, then turned to look at me. Hey, Chisada. Yes? Can I ask you something? Huh? Okita had never struck me as the sort to ask permission for, well, anything, so why was he asking me of all people? Sure. He grinned. Why is it that you're always here when I wake up? Well? His smile was persistent. Is that bad? He rolled his eyes. I didn't say that. His face came closer to mine, his eyes narrowed slightly as he studied me. I felt my heart begin to beat a little faster. I just thought you might not be getting enough sleep because you're too busy taking care of me. That's not true. He raised an eyebrow. Really? I was trying desperately to think of a convincing explanation when I heard a voice from behind me. She's lying. She's been too busy caring for you to sleep. Yamasaki! You think maybe you should tell her to lay off a while, Okita? She needs some rest. Okita grinned at me again. Go get some rest. Okita and Yamasaki had never gotten along. In fact, when they weren't at each other's throats, they were trading venomous looks across the table at mealtimes. But I can't believe you'd both gang up on me like this. Yeah, stop whining. It's night time and good girls should be asleep. He moved to try and weakly push me out of the room. I'll keep an eye on Okita. I want you to get some sleep, alright? Oh, you'll keep an eye on me, huh? Not sure I like the sound of that, pal. He gave a snort of laughter and Yamasaki thinned his lips. Perhaps he was really feeling better. I was happy they were concerned about me, but I was still worried about Okita. I didn't want to leave him. What's wrong? Too scared to sleep alone? No. I shook my head. There wasn't really much I could do, even if I did stay with him. If he was going to get better, it probably wasn't going to be because I'd run myself ragged wiping the sweat from his forehead. Maybe it was time for me to get some rest. Alright. And then, as I turned to leave, Okita's eyes rolled up his head and he collapsed on the floor unconscious. Okita! He moaned unintelligibly and his breath was labored. Yamasaki's jaw tightened. I'm going to get Dr. Matsumoto. Before I had a chance to respond, he disappeared. The doctor's going to be here soon. All I could do was tuck him back under the covers and wait silently. Well, his wounds haven't reopened at least. Dr. Matsumoto sat back by his side. He got up, didn't he? The boy still doesn't have the energy for that. This is Okita's fault, not yours. You can't blame yourself, you understand? I could see the concern in his eyes when he looked at me, and I realized that my misery must have been more outwardly apparent than I thought. I love Dr. Matsumoto. He's like the father we never had. It's... God. Okita still hasn't healed. Dr. Matsumoto frowned, nodded, frowning. To be perfectly honest, I have no idea why. A normal gunshot wouldn't even slow down a Fury. Right. I'd seen Furies shot before. They healed almost instantly. But not so for Okita. He was silent for a moment. It must mean that the bullets he was shot with had some effect on him, something that prevents Fury from healing. At least that's the only theory that makes any sense. Then there was a short pause, and then Yamasaki spoke. I heard the bullets they pulled out of him were made of silver. Silver? Bullets made of silver would be awfully expensive. Why would anyone have to make silver bullets? That must be it then. Then the silver bullets were what was preventing Okita from healing? Well, even if we know what caused it, that doesn't help us get him back on his feet. True. We all fell silent. After several long seconds, Dr. Matsumoto cleared his throat. If Okita was still only human, then these injuries would have certainly killed him. If he wasn't a Fury, he'd be dead. Yes, he's healing slowly for a Fury, but it's still much faster than what a human body could do. Okita was only alive because he wasn't human, but his Fury nature meant that the silver bullets were causing him to suffer. I knew he would have died otherwise, but it still hurt me to see him in pain. In any event, he'll recover eventually, so as long as we leave him alone, he should be fine. Yamasaki sighed. So what you're saying is there isn't anything you can do for him. I'd like to, but I'm a human doctor. He was right. Without someone who knew about how Furies really worked, we were just fumbling in the dark. Kodo might know something, though. My father? Right! Of course, my father had been doing research on the Furies. He might have left some notes or something at our house. He certainly might have. It's just on the edge of Edo, if I recall correctly. I nodded. Maybe I'll find something useful. Alright, I'll head over there tomorrow. Then I'll be going with you. I blinked. Are you sure that's alright? I was ordered to guard Okita and you. Hikari was very clear. I would have preferred that Yamasaki stayed behind to guard Okita, but you can't be too careful, Chizuru. Take Yamasaki with you if he's willing. I'll stay here with Okita until you come back. In the end, I decided to take Dr. Matsumoto up on his offer. Yamasaki and I left the following morning, promising to return as soon as possible. So this is your house? Yes. I hadn't seen it in years, but I didn't have time to be nostalgic. Nerves were making me tense and jumpy. Would we even find anything? The air inside was dusty and stale. Doesn't look like anyone's been here lately. Then my father hadn't returned. I felt both disappointment and relief well up within me. I know where he would have kept his research data. The start of his desk. Right. Excuse me. We spent the better part of several hours looking through every corner of the house for anything about the Furies, but the price of being a Fury is life itself. Oh, that's right! Ah! I completely forgot! In order to heal Okita, I'm sorry, I'm moving around a bit, is to give him blood! I completely forgot! Holy God! Right. What we did find was hardly good news. What do you mean? I turned to look at the note Yamasaki was reading. The water of life forever cloth the body. But there is a limit to the human body's healing power. A limit? It looks like the limit isn't set in stone. Probably depends on the individual. But still, his face was pale. We made a horrible mistake. From what it says here, using the powers of a fury uses up your... I guess you could say uses up your future. You mean... I swallowed. Eventually they'll... use it up? Yamasaki closed his eyes. Yeah. They use up in a few minutes what could take a normal human years to use. Oh no! Then how long did Okita have? When he'd chosen to drink the water of life, he signed away his future? No! I didn't think his decision had been wrong. As a Fury, he'd been able to save people who could otherwise surely have died. But Okita... Calm down, Yukimura. We need to read this. We barely know anything about the Furies. How long did it take us to figure out Okita wasn't healing because of the silver bullets? Your father's notes might help us prevent things like that. Yes, you're right. If we were going to save Okita, we needed as much information as we could find, no matter how unpleasant it was. Anyone who became a Fury gained incredible powers, but those powers put a great strain to their body. And it's the strain that causes the Furies to go insane when they smell blood. They get the bloodlust. If they get the bloodlust, it gets even worse. They'll have episodes more and more frequently, and eventually the desire for blood will drive them insane. The more we found, the lower our spirits fell, until at last uncovered something that gave us hope. There is a way to suppress the Furies' thirst for blood. What? Yes! One of the many reams of notes my father had left behind detailed a medicine that could suppress the bloodlust. But do you think you can make it? He nodded. Before I left, I used to help my father with his work. I should be able to make it using the ingredients he left behind here. Yamasaki let out a breath he probably hadn't realized he'd been holding. Alright, if I can do anything to help, let me know. Oh, Yamasaki's smile is like one of the rarest things. Like... I get even more surprised when Yamasaki smiles than when Hichigata does, because it's such a weird thing, because he's so serious all the time. I really like Yamasaki, he's one of my favorite characters. Thank you. Together, Yamasaki and I were able to prepare several doses of the medicine. Unfortunately, we haven't learned anything about how we might heal Okita's wounds. You give him blood, Chizuru! That's how it works. It's getting pretty late. By the time we left the house, the sunset had already dyed the sky blood red. Still, we had the medicine. That was something at least. Oh, shit. Someone's gonna come and they're gonna kill Yamasaki. I just know it. We should be back before it gets dark. Come on. He'd only taken a simple step when it happened. Oh no. A shadow appeared from nowhere, slamming into Yamasaki and knocking him to the ground. I am never going to forgive the person who kills Yamasaki. I'm serious. I ran toward him, but the shadow turned to face me, and I froze in my tracks. You! What are you doing here? I came to visit my darling sister. What other reasons could I have? It went without saying that I couldn't trust him. I dropped into a defensive posture and kaoru pantomime of expression that exaggerated sadness and surprise. Something wrong? Are you mad that I hit him? He gestured at Yamasaki still lying on the ground. It's not very nice just to punch someone out of nowhere. He shrugged. Just wanted a little time alone with my dearest sister. If someone tells me, he just wouldn't understand, even if I asked him politely. He was right. There was no way Yamasaki could have done anything Kaoru asked. But still, I thought I might make you sad if I killed him, so I put the young man to sleep for a bit. But you want to make Chizuru sad, so you're going to kill him, which means I'm going to kill you. Was I bad? Oh shit. He tilted his head in a strange smile, twisting his lips. It's bad to hit people, but it's worse to kill them. And the world's such a rosy place, isn't it? How dare I sully it? He chuckled to himself. Come on. Oh, by the way, how's Okita doing? Dead yet? Stop it! Kaoru's brow shut up and his grin widened. I'm only kidding, calm down. After all, he's a fury. He wouldn't die that easily. Although, considering how much pain he's in, I'll bet he wishes he was dead. Kaoru! The angrier I got, the wider his grin stretched. Pretty soon, poor little Okita's going to turn into a monster. All he'll want to do is drink blood. That's not true! We had the medicine. With that, we can control his bloodlust. Okita wouldn't become a monster. Oh, you've been at the old man Kaoru's notes, have you? Did you find that medicine of his? My heart fell. Of course you did. Excellent work. But you should know that that stuff only works for a short time and it can't suppress the bloodlust forever. I started to cry out, but I bit my lip to hold it in. If his gunshot wounds don't heal soon, then he'll run out of life. And once that happens, it's bye-bye Okita. That's not going to happen! Oh, he may still look like Okita, but there won't be anything of him left in there. He threw back his head and laughed. I didn't know what to think. There was no reason to trust him, but he was telling the truth. Okita, I wanted to believe he'd be alright, but if I was honest with myself, I had no reason to think he would be, apart from hope. Blood! Goddammit. Would you like to know how to save Okita? What? I felt my eyes grow wide. You just need to give him some demon blood. Human blood won't do anything for them, but ours is different. And remember, quality not quantity. Half-breeds won't do much for him, but the blood of a pure blood demon. That meant, if I give him my blood, will that help him recover? Exactly. He nodded, obviously satisfied. You and I don't get the bloodlust like those creatures, but our injuries heal just as fast. If you give your blood to him, you can share that ability. He'll heal faster and he won't go crazy over blood. That's what you're saying? He smirked. Well, you're more perceptive than I thought. Yes, the gunshot wounds will heal and Okita will keep his mind. I'd call that a win-win, wouldn't you? Yes, but it sounded too good to be true. Would it really be that easy? Are you telling the truth? Kaoru looked shocked. Would you doubt your own brother? After all he'd done, I could hardly trust him. Well, it's your choice. You can believe me or not, up to you. Well, I got to see you look like a fool, and that's enough for me. I'll just leave before he wakes up. With one last satisfied grin, Kaoru turned and walked away. I watched his back and thought of 1,000 different things to yell after him, but said none of them. Then at last, after he had finally disappeared, Are you alright? Yamasaki clambered to his feet immediately, then wavered for a moment, blinking. Yeah, I'm fine. Can you tell me what just happened? Sure. Kaoru had been the one to hit him, I explained, so that he could talk to me alone. I laid out that Kaoru had just told me about the Furies, and it seemed almost too good to be true. At the question from Yamasaki, I reassured that Kaoru hadn't hurt me, and he seemed to relax a little. Once Yamasaki felt steady, we headed back to Okita and Dr. Matsumoto. You two took your time. He smiled as we stepped through the door, but his face creased with worry. And Yamasaki, you seem to have developed a rather large bump on your head. Sorry. Dr. Matsumoto frowned and proceeded to examine Yamasaki's injury. Is it bad? He'll be fine, he just needs rest. He instructed Yamasaki to go to sleep and shooed him out of the room. Yamasaki didn't argue. He hadn't said anything, but from the look of the bruise it must hurt quite a bit. So, did you find any of Koda's research? I recounted what we found at my old house, both the good and the bad. I explained how Yamasaki had been hurt and what Kaoru had told me about the Furies. I don't think he was lying, but I do wonder how much we can trust him. He hummed and furrowed his brow in thought. Well, at least we've got the medicine now, so I suppose it wasn't all that bad news. Yeah. I looked up at me and he smiled. Well then, can I go now? Of course, thank you for staying so long. I bowed. You've got to be tired. Go to sleep early tonight, alright? I will. We exchanged a few more goodbyes and then he was gone. Even though I promised Dr. Matsumoto I would, I hardly felt like going to sleep. Okita. His fury healing was using up his life even as it kept him alive. I couldn't stand it. It felt like I was watching him die. Welcome back, Chizuru. I turned to see him sitting up, grinning at me. Okita, you're supposed to be resting! He shrugged. I heard you guys talking about me. Had to see if you were saying anything bad, you know. What? He was avoiding the subject as he always did. There was something else. Okita, were you? I felt my tummy tighten up. Were you listening to everything we said? He smiled. You know, if I hadn't drank the water of life, I probably would have died that day. Okita, even if I hadn't died then, the tuberculosis would have killed me eventually. His eyes were calm. So what if it's a furious lifespan is shorter? It's still longer than I would have got. The way I see it, I'm lucky to be alive right now. Even as he watched his life trickle away, Okita felt no resentment for the cruel turn his fortune had taken. Perhaps it was that very attitude that made me feel so drawn to him. Please, don't give up. Even if he'd accepted that his death was close, I didn't want it to be too close. You're still alive. He grinned. True, and as long as I'm alive, maybe I can do something good. Don't worry, Chizuder, I won't give up. Good. The future was still uncertain, but so long as Okita believed in himself there was hope. I felt myself smiling. Anyway, I was about to tell him that hope or not he needed to go back to bed when... What? He doubled over in pain. Automatically I reached out to support him. His body was trembling. I felt he was about to collapse. Is it your wounds? Did they hurt? He shook his head. As I watched his hair turn white and his eyes turned red. Okita! It's nothing. It'll pass soon enough. Wait, had you felt this before? How many other times had this happened? Is this... Was it the Fury bloodlust? Do you want blood? No! His reply was practically a shout. I don't want that. I don't need blood. I don't want to go crazy. His voice shook as he spoke. Though whether from pain, fear, or both, I couldn't tell. We'd both seen plenty of Furies go mad with the thirst for blood. But you're in so much pain. If I lose, I go crazy. How am I supposed to help Kendo? Oh. Okita had drunk the water of life to make him a more effective soldier. All he wanted was to help Kendo. If he lost himself in the bloodlust, he would be denied that one desire. How long have you been doing this? How horrible, to be all alone, surrounded by pain so great even breathing was agony. I'm fine. I can handle this. What kind of... blah do you think I am? His snarl of anger turned into a moan of pain and he bent over, squirming. He seemed to think he could endure through sheer force of will, but... You don't look fine at all! I could hear my voice break and tears had begun to well up in my eyes. I wrapped my arms around Okita and held him tight. Yamasaki hadn't appeared, which meant he was likely fast asleep and wouldn't be waking up any time soon. What was I going to do? That's the only thing that's gonna help. What Kaoru said about demonic blood suppressing the Fury bloodlust had made sense. If giving him my blood would make his pain abate, then there was no reason to wait any second longer. I pulled out my sword and drew the blade across my arm. Ouch. There was a brief moment of pain and then a line of blood welled up along the cut. She said, "What the hell are you? Please, drink this!" I held out my arm and his eyes widened. By the time my arm reached him, the cut had already closed, but blood still sat there on top of the smooth skin. I'm a demon. Demon blood will heal your bullet wounds, and you won't go mad. His eyes had fixed themselves on the blood of my arm. They looked hungry. I just want to help you. If you would just do it, then the bloodlust would go away. I was sure of it. Please. He said nothing as he moved his face forward, the blood shining on my arm. When he was close enough that I could feel his breath brushing across my skin, his mouth opened, and he ran his tongue across my arm, the blood disappearing behind it. Sorry. His voice was low, almost embarrassed. I blinked in surprise. There's nothing for you to apologize for. But yeah, maybe, but still. I'm sorry. He looked down at the floor, his face strained. Although he was still pale, it looked like bloodlust had subsided and his hairs and eyes returned to their normal color. You really should rest now. He nodded and let me slide him into bed without objection. Okita. I could see how much pain he was in and my heart went out to him, but at least his suffering had subsided. There was something to be happy about at least. Alright. The next day, Okita seemed to be healing at a much more rapid pace. Oh, yep! I didn't know what Kaoru's intentions were, and I still couldn't bring myself to trust him completely, but there was no question that my blood had helped Okita. That would be enough for now. Some time later, Okita's injuries had healed completely. Oh, I gotta turn the volume down. These things are hard to move in, aren't they? I wouldn't know, never tried them. Yamasaki shrugged and Okita shot him a pouting look. Right, how stupid of me to ask you to back me up, Yamasaki. He mumbled something else under his breath and turned to face me. Well, what do you think, Chizuru? Do I look weird? I was at a loss for words. He'd cut his hair much shorter and he suddenly looked different. They're very nice. Yeah? Hard to believe when you won't look at me. Why do I feel so embarrassed? I would have understood if our positions were reserved, but what is going on? You're saying that I'm so damn good looking that we've gone and fallen in love? I nearly choked. That's not true! My cheeks felt hot enough to fry eggs, but I did my best to keep my voice calm and cool. Yeah, guess not. Now he looks sad! That wasn't fair! Had I been too harsh in my denial? Had I actually hurt his feelings? You look very handsome. I still couldn't bring myself to meet his eyes. I see. Oh, you tease. I finally saw up. I saw a triumphant smile plastered across his face. He tricked me! Whatever he looked like, he was still the same Ogita inside. You done? When are we leaving? Yamasaki's voice cut through Okita's gloating, and his smile immediately disappeared. As soon as possible. If we're leaving, then we should let Dr. Matsumoto know. After all, this is his house, and it'd be pretty rude to just leave without telling him. Alright, I'll ask him to drop by tomorrow night. Yamasaki seemed to have been expecting both of our responses. Okita, I want the doctor to take one last look at you before we head out. Okita grimaced. The commander doesn't want you fighting if Matsumoto doesn't clear you for duty, got it? That was right, we were headed for battle. The shogunate had ordered the Shinsengumi to keep peace in the Kofu Castle region. Marching to Kofu would take the Shinsengumi past the town of Hino, which had once been the home to Kondo and Okita. Kondo hoped they might both had a chance to visit. Hichikata, however, was against the idea. I'll bet that son of a lovely woman would just love a reason to keep me out of a fight, wouldn't he? I couldn't bear to stay quiet any longer. I think you're wrong. Hichikata's only worried about you. Really? His eyes narrowed as he looked at me. Why the hell is he taking Kondo off to battle? Hichikata was the one who got him shot in the first place. You know he's thief. Damn it, I wanna fucking swear. I wanna fucking swear, but I can't. What's wrong with that sentence? God. He knows he fucked up, and now he doesn't have the balls to face me. I guess the rule is, if there's swearing in the game, then I will swear. Okita's eyes burned with cold anger. He had reasons for it, perhaps, but that didn't excuse the fact that he was acting like a child and pouting because he'd been left out. Hichikata's not like that, and you know it. He'd never let his emotions stop him from doing what he had to be done. There was a harsh edge to Yamasaki's voice. If he thinks it's necessary, he'll set his emotions aside completely. Yeah? Tell me what was so necessary about taking the man who can't even lift a sword to fight. What? Yamasaki glanced in my direction and pursed his lips. Kondo was shot in the shoulder. He can't raise his right arm higher than his chest. My breath caught in my throat. The chance that that's what wound healing completely wasn't good. The only thing Hichikata gives a shit about is his Shinsengumi. He couldn't care less about Kondo. I have to go. I'm not gonna let Hichikata use him like this. Okita tended to lose sight of reality a bit when Kondo was involved. That often led to he being overly critical of Hichikata. In truth, though, it only illustrated how much he cared about both of them. Stop him, for fuck's sake. Goddamn it, I swore. True to Yamasaki's word, Dr. Matsumoto came by the following day. After a short examination of Okita, he sat back and smiled with satisfaction. You're completely healed. Congratulations! I was thrilled. For so long, at last, Okita was healthy again. He looked sideways at me and chuckled. You're more excited than I am. Yes, I guess so. But with good reason. At last, he wouldn't have to suffer from those horrible wounds anymore. How could I not be happy? You're going to Kofu, He looked worried. Are you planning on taking her with you? If you don't want to, I'd be happy to take care of her. She's coming with me. I'd rather she stays where I can keep an eye on her, you know? I'd wanted to go with him, of course. That he wanted me to go was more than I dared hope for. I felt my cheeks turn red. Why, you blushing jig? I know. Nobody makes me embarrassed like he does. You're not coming down with a cold, are you? I can't take you if you're sick, you know. He was grinning, but there wasn't even a hint of genuine concern in his voice. You're mean. He only grinned wider. Yeah, he is, and we love him. God. Serious music. Can't quite stop smiling, but someone's gonna die, I'm sure, so I'll stop smiling soon enough. After packing up what little belongings we'd brought with us, we headed to Kofu Castle. As a fury, Okita had to wait for the sun to go down before we could leave, which meant we were a little late to join the rest of the Shinsengumi. The Imperial Army is in a good position. Good for them, I mean. Yamasaki had returned looking slightly harried, and the news he'd brought back had been bad. Where are Kondo and Hijikata? The chief is with the rest of the soldiers at the Shinsengumi camp on the hillside. Hijikata had gone back to Edo to request reinforcement. He what? Okita's eyes went wide, but only for a moment. But he spoke again. His voice was angry. So he leaves Kondo in a bad position and runs off to Edo, huh? Yamasaki scowled. He left for Edo on the chief's orders. Yeah, and he forced Kondo to give those orders. Okita and Yamasaki glared at one another, with jaws clenched. Stop it, both of you! This was hardly the time to be arguing. Blaming Hijikata wouldn't solve anything. You're supposed to be fighting the enemy, not each other. What is this going to accomplish? I could feel furious tears pushing at the corners of my eyes, but I swallowed them. After a long moment, Okita coughed and mumbled something almost too quietly to hear. Let's go meet up for Kondo. Understood, Captain. And just like that, the tension between them was gone. I sighed with relief. Before you go... Oh, fuck off! That wasn't a swear word. What are you talking about? Do you think you could play with me a little? Kaoru! Without a word, Okita moved to stand in between Kaoru and myself. I think the two of us should be enough, don't you? Right. In a blink of an eye, Yamasaki was gone before Kaoru even had a chance to respond. Aw, did he leave you behind? I guess you're not very popular, Okita. Okita's answer was a grin. Never liked him much anyway. Kaoru laughed, but made no attempt to chase after Yamasaki. After all, Yamasaki wasn't what he was here for. That was why Okita had wanted Yamasaki to ignore Kaoru and leave to help Kondo and the rest of the soldiers. Yamasaki had done exactly what he wanted. I just came to see how you were doing. His words, his sword hissed out of his scabbard. His battlefield positively reeks of blood. Isn't that a bit much for a fury? What's your point? With a tiny sideways grin, Okita drew his own sword. This thing's been drenched in blood since the day I picked it up. He leapt forward towards Kaoru, and their swords slammed into one another with thunderous force. Both men leaped backwards, eyes locked. Only then did I notice Okita's hair had gone white and his crimson eyes were glaring at Kaoru. You've got some balls for a fury. His tone was jeering. I've had about enough of your bullshit. I think today's gonna be the day you die. Their swords met again. Wounds opened across his body, courtesy of Okita's blade. Ha! These are just scratches. A demon had the ability to heal almost instantly, and Kaoru's wounds had already begun to close. What do you think that's all I got? Before Kaoru had time to react, Okita struck again. It wasn't that Kaoru was weak, so much as it was that Okita was overwhelmingly powerful. His attacks came with blinding speed, and bit by bit he pushed Kaoru back. With each blow Okita landed, Kaoru laughed only harder. You finally lose it? I hope you just get off from being hurt. Whatever, doesn't matter. It's over for you. Interesting. You're pretty impressive. Even with Okita's blade at his throat, Kaoru never lost his composure. It made my blood run cold. You've gotten lost faster than the last time I saw you. Have you been drinking blood? Is this really the time to chit-chat? I mean, you do see that about a half-inch from putting a sword through your neck, right? Kaoru didn't even seem to hear him. I'm not sure if you're doing well because you drank some blood, or if you hate me so much that I'm bringing out the best in you, but either way, Okita, so long as you're a fury, you won't be able to get by without drinking blood for very long. You really don't know when to quit. Are you really that anxious to die? His sword didn't budge. Furies get stronger every time they drink blood, but once you've had a taste, the bloodlust is harder to resist the next time, and worse the time after that, and then it's all downhill from there. The really sad part is, if you don't drink blood, eventually the pain gets too much for you to handle. Kaoru smiled. What are you trying to say? His voice was practically a growl, but Kaoru only laughed. If you want to get stronger and not go mad, then you have to drink the blood of a demon. Oh, that would be so nice if it were true, wouldn't it? What? I felt as if I had been hit in the chest. If demon or human blood is just blood, yours won't save him. He'll drink and drink until he goes mad. I froze, my mind reeling. That was probably exactly what Kaoru had hoped for. He leapt towards me. Don't touch her! But it wasn't fast enough. Kaoru dodged his lunge, and I felt his hands grab me. He shoved the top of his mouth. Oh no! And some glass into my mouth, and something like blood trickled out. I spit and coughed desperately, but I felt several thick drops of it slide down my throat. His mad, piercing laughter assaulted my ears. My heart pounded against the inside of my chest. Okita lashed out with his sword, aiming for Kaoru's breast. Kaoru shoved me aside and left from Okita. Kaoru, did you? His voice shook and it barely contained rage. I just thought it would be lonely if Okita was the only Fury. His grin was twisted and cruel. Now you're both Furies. You should really thank me, you know. You son of a bitch! This is your fault, Okita, not mine. You could have killed me, but you felt bad doing the deed in front of my sister. The more you care for one another is the tighter the noose gets. This is so fun. How dare you! I could feel the pain beginning to course through my body and my breath was starting to come in gasps. It was almost as if a switch in Kaoru had been flipped. When he looked down at me, his cruel grin was gone. In its place was a sneer of utter disgust and loathing. I hate you. I wondered, what happens to the demon who drinks the water of life? Will you go mad? I'm looking forward to my next visit, I'll say that much. And with that he disappeared into the forest, laughing. Okita stood silent and rigid as he watched Kaoru leave. I had no doubt that he wanted more than anything to chase after my brother, but he didn't. He stayed. As I watched his body shift and he was a normal human again. I'm sorry. Kaoru's right. I hesitated and you paid the price. No. I should have just killed him when I had the chance. Okita scowled and slammed his sword back into its scabbard. I thought I could protect you, but I let my guard down. I screwed up. Okita. He finally met my eyes with a look of concern. Are you alright? I nodded. I'm fine. Nothing seems to have happened yet. There was more to come, I was sure of that, and it frightened me, but I didn't want to add to Okita's worry. We still need to join up with the rest of the Shinsengumi, right? I was sure Okita would cheer up once he saw Kondo again, but he thought a moment before answering. The battle might be over already. I hadn't realized until he mentioned it, but the gunfire we'd heard as we approached had been silent for some time. If it's over, then did the Shinsengumi lose? If they had, then that would be, then they would have retreated from camp, and it would be next to impossible for us to find them. After a few moments of thought, Okita had made up his mind. We'll head back to Edo. I had to end the episode here. God! Fuck Kaoru! Just fuck him! I don't care if I'm swearing! You don't hurt Chizuru! You hurt others, okay? But not Chizuru! God, poor girl! Holy fuck! I'll end the episode here, okay? Goodbye! Damn it!